Tibia fractures are the most common long bone fractures encountered by the orthopedic surgeons, and distal third tibia fractures are second highest in the incidence. Extra-articulate distal tibia fractures are amongst the most challenging fractures for treatment because of its subcutaneous location, poor blood supply, decreased muscular cover anteriorly, and complications such as delayed union, non-union, wound infection, and implant irritation. Minimally invasive plate osteosynthesis and intramedullary interlocking nail are two well accepted methods, but each has been related to its own complications. Aim of the study: this study compares clinical and radiological outcome in extra-articular distal tibia fractures managed by intramedullary nailing versus plating. Critical decisions what we have to make before operating, that is when to operate. First, as soon as the patient presents, after a point of time, we have to check with dorsiflexion if there is appearance of the skin creases, then that is the time to operate. Incision site, whether medial or lateral, that depends more on also the fibula fracture, whether it's a tensile or compressive fracture, whether there is medial angulation or lateral. What reduction tools you are going to use, what implant you are going to use, and fibula fixation by observing the site of the fibula fracture. Materials and methods. 30 patients with extra-articular distal tibia fractures, AO type 43A1, A2, A3, treated with intramedullary nailing and plating techniques were included in the study. 16 of them were included in the intramedullary group and 14 in the plating group, who met the inclusion criteria. Patients were randomly divided into two groups based on their method of treatment. Informed consent was taken from each patient. Inclusion criteria: fracture meeting the AO criteria, age more than 18 years, those who give valid consent, presence of distal fragment of at least 3 centimeters, duration of injury less than 2 weeks, and competent neurological and vascular status. This is the pre-operative data. We had 18 males and 12 females. Exclusions were open fractures, intra-articular extension, pathological fractures, poor medical status, and the patients who didn't give consent. Patients who presented to the emergency room were first stabilized with the posterior splinting. Operative technique: intramedullary nailing. They were prepared and draped on the operation table. They were positioned supine with the hip flex 45 degree and knees 90. 5 centimeter incision along the medial border of the patella tendon was made, extending from the tibial tubercle to the proximal direction. Patella tendon was retracted laterally. Bone awl was introduced, and the entry was made at the tibial plateau, the anterior aspect. Care was taken to stay in the extra-articular area, and nailing was done using the standard technique, and all fractures were fixed with 2 proximal and 2 distal locking screws. Plating technique: the leg was prepared and draped. A longitudinal incision of length 3 centimeters was made over the medial malleolus, adequate enough to put the screws and distal fragment. Saphenous nerve and vein retracted anteriorly. Then a space tunneling towards the diaphysis was made using the blunt tip of the plate, and reduction was achieved with manual traction and manipulation. Was confirmed under C-arm, and pre-countered plate was used and was positioned on the anteromedial aspect of distal tibia, passing it through the subperiosteal tunnel. The distal fragment fixation was done with a combination of locking and cortical screws. Insertion of screws in the proximal fragment was done with small stab incisions, and the associated fibula fracture we fixed were in the criteria when the fibula was fractured within 10 centimeters from the tip of lateral malleoli. Post-operative protocol: sutures were removed on the 14th day after checking for gaping. Radiographic evaluation was done and follow-up was done post-operatively, 6 weekly till union and 1 year follow-up. Active range of movements of knee and ankle joint along with quadriceps strengthening was started. Weight bearing was started as soon as the union signs were there radiographically, and clinically as the absence of tenderness and movement at the fracture site. These are the cases where we have fixed the fractures. The first and the second one are the where we have used intramedullary nails. This is where we have also fixed fibula along with the tibia with plating technique. Results: there were total 30 patients in the study, 18 males and 12 females. Most common mode of injury was RTA. 70% of patients were operated within a week. In this study, interlocking nailing group was associated with lesser duration of surgery, earlier weight bearing, faster union rate when compared to the plating group. Duration of surgery was 57.5 average in intermedullary locking and 17 plating. Full weight bearing was 10.4 weeks in nailing and 14.2 weeks in plating group. And union time was 16 weeks average in interlocking group and 21 weeks in the plating group. These are the complications which we faced. Implant irritation, stiffness was more marked in the plating group. We also found that the cost of surgery of interlocking group was lesser when compared to the plating group. And 6 patients underwent fibula fixation in nailing group and 8 in the plating group. Dynamization was also done in 2 patients in the nailing group. Conclusion, both the methods are accepted methods, but interlocking group was associated with lesser duration of surgery and lesser incidence of infection, which makes it a preferable option. Thank you.